Well, hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Island Church Weekly Podcast. Good to join you today. Thanks for being with us, Pastor Will. Thank you. How you doing today?
It's a good day, Matt. Look forward to sharing with you and sharing with our
Yeah,
people, and so
yeah, awesome.
maybe things will settle down a little bit for you personally too. So
Yeah, all good stuff for us personally. Just busy little kids running around like crazy, and busy social weekend, but all good stuff. So, speaking of the weekend? How was Island Church on Sunday?
well, we enjoyed our time at 9:30. We gathered up and just to connect with one another. And then a 10 o'clock service. We didn't have Motown music this week
Okay.
in our 10 o'clock service,
Yeah.
but really good singing and people engaging. That was a good thing. And then I think we had several guests that were with us this week. A few from out of town, maybe a couple local people that are transitioning. Like a lot of people, they
Yeah.
transition here. They don't come here overnight. They
Yep.
take a short period, a few years or longer years
Yeah.
to get here,
Try
but
to do
they
a little
get
bit of
here.
everything before they make the final move.
So anyway, that was good. And we this past week, if you missed last week, I just encourage you to listen, to go back and listen to the message, and even to listen to the whole service for that matter. But I talked about really around this idea of serving and
Hmm.
why do we serve one another and what that helps us do in our own spiritual growth. I talked
Yeah.
about that a little bit. That was kind of the umbrella for the whole
Yeah.
message. But I talked about specifically 4 different phases of our spiritual development. I talked about being a customer,
Hmm.
right? And
Right.
and we are initially. And then I talked about being a consumer. Too
Mm.
many Christians just stay at the consumer level. They believe that the church is there to serve them, and that just really hinders one's growth. It's great to see 2-year-olds run around doing 2-year-old things, but if they, you really expect 2-year-olds, you got small kids to
Yep.
grow up, and we need to
Yeah.
grow up in our faith and kind of move through this being a consumer, American consumerism in terms of the church, and really move into what Paul and others would describe as a co-laborer.
Mm.
And so I talked about being a co-laborer in the church. And then for those few people that God's called out and
Yeah.
uniquely gifted, those are the commandos. So
Yeah.
we talked about kind of 4 phases, particularly trying to make sure that we as a church and individually and collectively don't get into seeing God as someone we consume
Mm.
or the church someone that we consume. We
Yeah.
actually contribute to the whole. We get in deeper than that. So
Yeah. Totally.
anyways, it was a little, I thought it was a little heavy for me personally.
Yeah.
It wasn't anyway a rebuke to our church because our church really does a lot of good
Yeah.
serving and connecting
Yeah.
and connecting together. But we don't want to get in that mindset. We need to remember there's other people besides us. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
It's always a helpful reminder, right? To
just a
have
good
that in front of us to say, hey, even if we're doing great, let's not get stagnant because the drift is so easy and it's natural. The natural thing is to drift,
that's
right?
right.
Natural thing is not to stay in one place or to keep moving forward. It's natural to drift backwards. So just a great reminder for the church of that. Pastor Will, what's coming up in the life of Island Church that people need to know about? What events? What groups? What's happening at the church?
Well, this coming week we've got our special guest with Leo
Yeah.
Schofield, and I'm not sure his wife Chrissy will be joining us, but maybe she will be. Just haven't heard the final word on that. Sandy's been in communication with Chrissy, and so that's coming up this coming Sunday. You will want to take a look at the article. We tried to send you a link. If you hadn't got that, contact us. Look at the article. We sent you a couple different video segments that you can take a look at. And then the whole 2020 show, really telling his story of serving time in prison for almost 36 years, a few days
Yeah.
short of 36 years for a crime that he didn't commit. Not just that he should have been found not guilty, he was actually innocent of the
Yeah.
crime.
The whole time.
And so just how God has probably used him for some 25 years, 27 years in the prison, really preaching the gospel. And you'll hear uniquely how our church was involved in sponsoring what he was doing. And so you'll just want to buckle your seatbelt, come on,
Yeah.
and
It's a
just
good
hear.
time.
It'll be. I think your spirits will be lifted, and if you got friends around you, people that you've been wanting to invite, this will be a good opportunity. I've heard, and some of our people have heard Leo speak, and it'd be hard to tell that he's been in prison all the way through this past
Yeah.
May, just recently
Wow.
released. And so this coming Sunday, also 10 o'clock service, but come at 9:15. As Sandy
Yeah.
said yesterday, if you're one of the first maybe 40, you'll get a sausage biscuit.
Yeah.
If you're after that, maybe you won't. Anyway, no,
Yep.
just
Yep.
so
Be
so
there
we'll have
early.
a few refreshments, maybe some donut holes or something. I'm not sure exactly what all we're going to have, but come at
Awesome.
9:15, have an opportunity to meet Leo, and maybe you'll hang around a few minutes after the service. I'm sure you have some questions, but take a look and maybe just read that article. If nothing else, just about 5 to 7 minutes, but that'll give you a background to know some of the story. He's not going to spend the entire time telling about what happened to him. He's going to be talking about Jesus through the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
And so you'll want to, if you want to get some of the background and fill in some of the details, take a listen, and that will help you towards this Sunday. So that's coming up this week. That's the big thing. Um, our admin team gets together this Sunday. That doesn't affect everyone, but I just want you to know that you have people in the life of our church that are over different parts of our ministry, and they're
Yeah.
going to be coming together to serve the rest of the church in this way as we look forward to 2025, as we make some initial plans, and whether it's budgeting or ministries, those kinds of things. And of course, this right now, man, all our groups are getting to
Yeah.
going again. Men's group, women's group, multiple groups. Sandy and I are going to start a new group in the 1st of October. I'll talk more about that even next week.
Cool.
But we're going to begin. If you haven't gone through the Heart Attitudes book, we'd love to have you in a group with us and talk about kind of why we do what we do and what's the framework of what we do. So we look forward to that.
Yeah, yeah, it's such a great way to get connected. Those groups are such an easy on ramp into the life of the church. If we're not a huge church, but even on Sunday mornings, it can feel sometimes like I don't have time to talk to the people I want to, or kind of make the connections I want to. It's such a great way to make a big church feel small. Pastor Will, how can folks be praying for Island Church this week?
Well, let me pick up on one thought. You come on Sunday mornings and you just hear that one guy up on the front talking. So the good news about a small group is everyone gets a chance to contribute. Nobody gets put on the spot. We don't do the kind of things like that in our groups. But if you get involved with a life group, you'll have a chance to care for other people and them care for you as well. And so that's a good thing. So this week, I would just ask people to, in light of the message this past week, ask you to think about your area of service and pray about your role. Ask God to give you insights as to how you can contribute to the advancement of His kingdom through our church. We talked about Island Church being an expression of His church, and actually, it is one and the same with His church. We're not the only church. I'm not trying to suggest that. I'm just suggesting that this is part of the body of Christ. And so maybe you think about and pray about your part this week, and then pray for Leo as he comes. This is he's in trying to find ministry opportunities, and pray for him as he comes and speaks and leads us this week, and then pray about someone that maybe you can bring with you this coming Sunday.
Yeah, it will be a great service for someone to attend if they've never been before, or if they're just saying, hey, I'm interested kind of in this church thing, but tell me something a little bit, give me something out of the normal, or kind of just a good excuse to invite someone who's in your life who maybe doesn't come with you to church on a regular basis. So, Pastor Will, thank you so much for sharing with us today, for giving us the updates, for encouraging us on Sunday to just keep on mission with Island Church. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you right back here next week.